Assalamu alaikum, everybody. We are going to discuss today the thermoregulatory pathways that occur in homeotherms. Homeotherms in particular include mammals and birds. And what we mean by homeotherms are those animal species that can maintain a relatively stable body temperature despite the fact that the surrounding ambient temperatures are fluctuating immensely, whether it is the upper side of hot region or the lower side of the cold ambient temperature side. Now, on the far right side of the core body temperature, you can see that when the body temperature can no longer be maintained at a stable value, and the state of homeothermy is lost. In this case, we refer to this as hyperthermia. On the other hand, vice versa, on the other side, the far left side, we can see the curve depicted in blue. This shows a state of hypothermia when the core body temperature can no longer be maintained because of the extreme loss of the body heat. Both, of course, are not favorable for the purpose of the animal productivity. So let's see how the body reacts to exceedingly dropping ambient temperatures. So when the animal starts feeling cold because of the declining ambient temperatures, it will start relying on the metabolic heat production processes. The metabolic heat production starts rising significantly by means of utilizing calorigenic hormones, by probably relying on the digestive mechanisms to generate heat increments from feed postprandially and so forth, as we discussed also earlier. So we refer to the ambient temperature below which the metabolic heat production starts rising significantly in order to maintain homeothermy. We refer to this value, which lies on the x-axis. We refer to this as the lower critical temperature, LCT. Now, the lower critical temperature is the ambient temperature below which the metabolic heat production has to start rising significantly in order to counteract the exceedingly cooler and cooler ambient temperatures, and therefore the body can now maintain homeothermy because of this means. Now, on the other side, if the ambient temperature is exceedingly rising beyond the tolerable ranges, the body starts relying on evaporative heat loss pathways, and it will start sweating and or panting, and these two routes emphasize the importance of the evaporative heat loss. So we refer to another extreme point, which is known as the upper critical temperature, which means the ambient temperature above which the evaporative heat loss pathways start rising significantly in order to counteract the exceedingly rising ambient temperatures, and in an effort, to maintain homeothermy. Of course, when the animal enters the extreme states of either hyperthermia and or hypothermia, they will start losing the control of all of these, physiological mechanisms. So now, if you have a look at the brown colored curve, which signifies the non-evaporative heat loss, it will act almost in a vice versa, or in an opposite mirror image of the evaporative heat loss. And these heat transfer pathways, the non-evaporative heat loss pathways, include conduction, convection, and radiation. They rely a lot on the thermal gradients. So when the ambient temperature rises well above the tolerable value and starts approaching the body surface temperatures, the thermal gradient will start dropping to nearly a zero, and that's why you see it's fading away with the extreme rises in the ambient temperature. Now, the temperature range, the ambient temperature range that lies between the upper and lower critical temperatures is known as the thermoneutral zone, TNZ as an abbreviation. Within the thermoneutral zone, we care a lot about this middle region, which keeps the animal a bit farther away from the upper and lower critical values, and we refer to this as the thermal comfort zone. Now, the animal has the best productivity within the thermal comfort zone because it will have the least energy and effort expenditure to thermoregulate. It will thermoregulate the least because it is thermally comfortable, and therefore it will have the best productivity, and the animal is just in a happy mood, and the body is at its best environmental conditions, and we always look forward to attain this thermal comfort zone around the animal in order to maximize its productivity. Of course, all of these values vary a lot depending on many factors: genetics, the nutritional status of the animal, the productive state of the animal, whether it's pregnant, dry, lactating, and so forth. It will also rely on the age of the animal. So we will discuss in more details these factors and see how they all or each one of them affect the values. Thank you so much.